If you like the enemies to lovers trope, I have 10 book recommendations for the enemies to lovers trope, and you guys have actually been asking for this video for a while, so I'm glad I can finally bring it to you guys. I feel like this is for the girlies who love some angst, who love all of those vibes and romances, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys do want more videos like this, be sure to comment below like what tropes you guys need recommendations of, or like what types of videos you're looking for, and I will create them for you guys. This month is Booktober, so I'm actually sharing videos every single day for the entire month of Booktober, so make sure you subscribe because there'll be another video tomorrow. And yeah, let's just get into this. The first enemies to lovers book that came to mind was The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Now this was a book that took TikTok by storm. So many people liked it, but then so many people didn't, and I think you'll like this book if you like a happy, fluffy, easy romance. They actually turned this into a movie, I'm pretty sure. Still haven't seen it. I'm so behind on all of my like movies that have been like created off of like based off of books, but I love this book. I thought it was so cute. I think it was cute because it's about two coworkers, Lucy and Joshua, and both of them are just like literal rivals. Like they just do not get along at work. They're up for the same promotion. Like they're both trying and working so hard to like get the same position. And at one point there's like the girl is sick, he takes care of her trope. Like there's just so many cute little like tropes within this book, but the enemies to lovers one is what like shines through the most. And I feel like a lot of enemies to lovers books don't have like a hatred for each other, and they definitely do in this, and I feel like you'll really like it if you like happy, fluffy, like Hallmark movie vibes type romances. This is definitely a good one. Excuse Me Why I Ugly Cry by Joy Goffney is such a great enemies to lovers trope type book because it's about Quinn, who she lists everything, like her first kiss, her like, I don't know, crushes, like everything that you could think of that might be embarrassing for someone to see. She makes it into a list and puts it into a journal. She ends up losing that journal, and someone anonymously is like, I'm gonna share all of this information in the journal unless you like pretty much share these secrets with like people you have crushes on, or like, I don't know, other things like that, or do things that you like planned out that you want to do. I think she had like a bucket list in her journal, and it's really cute, but she does not like Carter Bennett because he's just always been someone who's gotten on her nerves, and he was actually the last person to see her journal. And this is all in the back of the book, I promise I'm not like spoiling it. And she's like, hey, you need to help me find this journal. You were the last one to see it, and now you can't find it anymore. Like, where the heck did it go? And he's like, I literally don't even know what happened with it. Like, you lost it. They do not get along. And I think a large part of this book is just like set on her finding the journal, but then also their connection is like really cute, and he like helps her do some of the things in the journal because she doesn't want to be exposed by the anonymous person. I feel like if you like books by Lynn Painter that have like something that's like a really interesting plot point with like two characters who don't like each other, that's also happy, fluffy, and easy to read, you'll really like this romance. I did not know that My Dark Romeo by Parker S. Huntington and LJ Shin was a dark romance, because I recently did a video reading dark romances for the first time, and someone was like, you should read this. And I'm like, oh, I've actually already read this. So I guess this was my first dark romance like ever, but this book was a little spicy to me, so it wasn't my favorite, but I feel like if you like spice, you'll definitely like this book. This is about two rivals who they just like don't like each other, and I think that it's supposed to be maybe it's not Romeo and Juliet retelling. I'm not really sure what exactly. I think his name is just Romeo. I think that's what it is. But they both are rivals, and well, not rivals, but they just like don't like each other. And she ends up going to a ball, and she ends up kissing Romeo, and while she's there and kisses him, pretty much everyone at the ball finds out that they kiss. And this happens like in the first like 2 pages. And so her parents are like, okay, you have to marry this man. Like, you cannot like mess up our like family name by like making out and like hooking up with this guy at this ball, and then just like, you know, not expect to be like married. And I don't really know when this is set, but it gives like old time vibes because they're like at a ball, and the family's like, you know, you've taken her first kiss, so like you must like be married to her. But it was really cute because she did not want to be married to him and was literally so upset that she had to like move in with him and all of that. But overall, it was like a very cute little trope. At one point in this book, she gets sick and she actually has like a bookstore she loves to go to, and there was this like new book that was coming out, and he bought all these new books that she like wanted to buy, and he bought them for her as like a surprise, and it was so freaking cute because I'm like, like little things like that, just like, I don't know, they make my heart happy. And there's so many like cute moments like that where you'll just like really see their connection with each other. There definitely is a lot of spice, I will say that. But if you're fine with spice, I feel like you'll really enjoy this book. I Think I Might Love You by Christina C. Jones is the first book in the Love Sisters series, and these two do not like each other. Like, they're literal enemies. Like, it is crazy how this book even starts. So it starts with Jacqueline, who she walks into this apartment and finds a man literally not clothed in the apartment. And that man happens to be the main character in this book. And that's how the book starts, like first chapter. And they just like have at it. They are just like, oh, like get out of my space. I don't like you. She ends up having to work for him. And again, she still doesn't like him. And just, you can just see all of their anger just like building up. His name is Caden Davenport. But they just keep like gravitating towards each other like magnets. They can't help it even though they don't like each other. And I just thought this was cute. I feel like you guys will really enjoy it. And you guys know I love sharing diverse reads, so had to share this one as well. To Serve With Love is so cute, and it gives like Hallmark movie vibes, which you guys know is my favorite type of like happy, fluffy, easy read. This is about Gracie Cooper, who after her father dies, she ends up taking over his champagne shop in Midtown Manhattan. And while she's doing that, she's actually like chatting with this guy online. He calls himself Sir, and I think she calls herself like Lady or something. They don't like share their like actual names, but it's like online dating situation. And she like really likes him, and she like wants to meet up with him, but he keeps being like, oh, like I don't know if I want to meet up. Like she's like, am I being catfished? Like what's going on? While all that's happening, she is trying to like keep a hold on her champagne shop because they're kind of going under, and it's literally giving Hallmark movie vibes because the big guy from the city named Sebastian wants to come in and buy out the champagne shop, and he wants to build it into a high-rise. Now, she literally starts to hate Sebastian because she's like, what the heck? You're coming in trying to buy out my small shop. I'm just trying to survive. Like, my dad passed this down to me. I'm not selling. You're not gonna come in here and buy this. And it says, but although Gracie finds herself slowly falling for Sir online, she has no idea that she's already met him in real life. And they can't stand each other. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But it is a very good enemies to lovers, and it gives rom-com, happy, fluffy Hallmark movie vibes, and it's such a cute story. This is the romance like book of all romance books. I feel like everyone has talked about this book, and if you haven't read it and you like happy, fluffy, easy reads, read this book. Everyone talks about this book, and I feel like it does like live up to the hype. It's just really cute. It is called Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and it's about Liz, who she has her head in the clouds. Like, she literally thinks that like her life is going to be like a rom-com, like in a movie, and she meets, or not meets, but like I guess gets reacquainted with her old neighbor. He comes back in town, and she's like, oh, he's like cute. I need to get him to like me, but I'm a little quirky, I'm a little weird, so maybe I should change things about myself. Her neighbor Wes is like, hey, I can help you like get this guy to like you because I used to be friends with him and like I know him pretty well. She can't stand Wes. She's like, Wes, get out of my face, you're the annoying neighbor, like, you're just, I can't stand you. He's like, no, really, I'll help you, I know him well, like as long as you give me your parking spot, because they're neighbors and they like always fight for a parking spot out front of their house. So she's like, okay. So she starts kind of like changing things about herself, but during that time, her and Wes are enemies, like true enemies, and then they like end up starting to have like a connection for each other, and she's like, do I really want this other guy who doesn't really even truly want me because I'm changing myself, and do I like, you know, want to do that? It is freaking cute. I love this book. I've recommended this to so many people who love happy, fluffy, easy reads. It's such a fun book. So this book has more of like the fake dating trope than it has the enemies to lovers trope, but I feel like the enemies to lovers trope is definitely prevalent in it, so I had to share it. Now, if you guys want a video with like a fake dating trope or like, what's it called? The marriage of convenience trope, let me know and I can share some recs like that. But this book is really good. It's about Kiki, who she has this like, what's it called? It's like a podcast situation where like a bunch of girls call in, they ask for advice, she's always giving advice, and everyone's like, I'm into this dude named Malachi. Now, she's like, everyone's calling in about Malachi. Malachi's a player, like let him go, do not be interested in him. She just does not like him, like at all. And he really hasn't even done anything to her, but she's just like, he's like trying to mess with these girls' hearts. So she says all that, and then a bunch of people like listen to her and they're like, okay, I guess we'll like stop being interested in this Malachi guy. Well, people start thinking that she's actually interested in Malachi, and they're like, were you trying to get us to stop liking Malachi so that you could date Malachi? So then they fake date because she pretty much wants to let people know that like she's actually like seriously interested in him, and then he comes on the podcast and they start like having a fake dating situation to like save their reputation in a way, because other girls were thinking that maybe he was a player while he was like hooking up or talking to other girls, like while he was talking to her. It just is a whole thing. So the fake dating trope again is probably heavier than the enemies to lovers, but they're definitely heavy on the enemies at the beginning of this book. And it's funny to see them like kind of come together and fake date. I really enjoyed this. This is probably one of my favorite romances that I read last year, and I still talk about it to this day. So this isn't my favorite book, but I want to recommend it because I feel like this is good for people who really love books with like activism included, because Honey and Spice has like a little bit of that in it, and I feel like I like that vibe and you don't see it very much. And I always want to share it because I feel like it's a very important thing that, I don't know, it connects me to my culture and maybe connects you to your culture, and I feel like I like it to be seen in literature. So I'm sharing this book for that reason. This is, I'm pretty sure, a YA book, and this is about Omar and Claudia, who Claudia is like Harvard bound. She's got everything like on lock. She's like, you know what, I'm gonna be like head honcho somewhere whenever I like finish high school. And Omar is like not really the type. Like he pretty much is just like, I want to play football in college, that's all I really care about. Well, it says that Omar and Claudia are thrown together when they unexpectedly lead a social protest with pretty much the entire school and most of Mississippi, and they end up doing that and they do it together, but Omar is mostly doing it to kind of impress Claudia because she thinks that he's like dumb. Now, the reason why I think I don't really care for this as much is just because it is definitely old. Like it was written, I think, a while ago. Let me pull up when it was written. Like 2010, 2013, like somewhere in that era. And I feel like you can definitely tell that it's dated. Like at one point he like kisses her, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like people are very confidently like sharing their consent in books now, but in older books, I feel like you didn't see that as often. And he like kisses her, and then she's like, doesn't want to like tell people that they kissed because she's like embarrassed. And I don't know if it's because she actually wanted to or not. So I don't know, but overall the book was a good like storyline, and I feel like you don't see it very often. So I did want to share it, but I feel like I had to also share, it wasn't like my absolute favorite book, but I think the storyline is very important to share. It's called He Said, She Said by Kwame Alexander. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace is a book that I actually was not obsessed with. I'm probably one of the few people who wasn't obsessed with it, but I still do share books that like, even if they're not my favorite, they are someone's favorite or might be someone's favorite because I can see the good themes within the book. So for me, there was too much spice. That's what it was for me, but the storyline was fun, the characters were fun. I think the first half of the book didn't really have much spice, so the last half had pretty much all of it, and I was like, whoa, we went from nothing to everything. It was just like a lot. But if you don't mind spice, I feel like you will be perfectly fine reading this book. You guys know I do read spice. Like I read books with spice, but to me, if the spice overshadows the actual relationship, sometimes I have a hard time like actually believing that the relationship is like that they're really like connected, you know? So again, this is a book that is about Anastasia, and she's an ice skater, and she ends up having to share her rink, like her ice skating rink, with someone who's a hockey player. His name is Nathan, because they end up like, the hockey team ends up like getting in a fight with like another hockey team or something like that. So they end up getting in trouble and like losing their privileges, or I think their hockey, like, what's it called? Court, field, rink. It ends up like getting, like vandalized, so they can't use it, so they have to share. So she's like already mad. She's like, I have to share with this hockey team. They're the ones who messed up their rink. I didn't mess up my rink. Like, why is it bothering? Like, why does it have to like impede on me and my like competition? So she's already annoyed with him, and she ends up like needing a partner because something happens with her partner, and so he actually helps her and like decides to step in and say like, hey, I'll be your partner. He knows nothing about being an ice skater. So I think that that storyline was super cute, where she was like trying to teach him how to do stuff. And then there were also college parties, so you got the whole college party vibe. If you guys want a video with like college romances, let me know, because I love a romance set in college. I feel like it's just fun and it gives me a lot of nostalgia. But yeah, this one was cute. Again, a little too much spice for me, but I will be reading her second book, Wildfire, that just came out. I feel like if you don't mind spice, you'll really love this book. This is an enemies to lovers book that's kind of loosely based, because really she thinks that Caspian, that's his name, doesn't like her because he is her brother's best friend. But like you find out later that he like didn't really dislike her really at all, but he is kind of like gruff and like angry a little bit, and you find out why like as the book goes on. But it's about Bailey, who something happens and she pretty much has to like fix her reputation. She's an influencer and something like big happens on the internet, but she gets this like little invitation to go on a couples trip to, I think, Jamaica. Yeah, in a big resort there, but it's a couples resort. So she's like, I don't know how I'm gonna go, but I kind of want to fix my reputation and go on this trip and do that. And so he's like, well, I'll go with you. So they end up going together and they fake date while they're on this little trip. It is very cute. I've already ordered the second book, and the third book I think comes out like early next year, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not coming out late this year, it's either early next year. This is called One Week in Paradise by Anise Starr. It's only 7 days, but those 7 days are a fun 7 days, and you'll really enjoy this book. It just is pretty fast paced, and the like fake boyfriend situation is really fun. The enemy situation is fun because the whole book she's like, oh my god, he's so annoyed with me, like he da 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 da. And it's really cute. And that is all the enemies to lovers romance recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you need more book recs, let me know what you're looking for below. Maybe friends to lovers, maybe fake dating, maybe marriage of convenience trope. Maybe you're looking for more dark romances, or you want, I don't know, just literally anything. Let me know and I will share more recs with you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Bye guys!